So we're actually filming one of my favourite videos today, a contest video. I love doing contest videos. Hello and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Contest video time. I love doing contest videos. They're always my favourite ones to film because we get to talk about some great people here in the VC, and normally it's just a fun idea for a video, because I can't lie, I run very low on ideas now. You know, I've covered most of the stuff you'd expect me to cover on my channel now, with over 200 videos, so these contest videos are great for me. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about Ross Goodall, who's just hit 500 subscribers. I think he's sitting at a much higher number now, 530 or 550 something, I think. Anyway, you know, Ross Goodall, you know, really one of my very first BC close friends, and I really do mean it when I say he is one of the closest friends I have here in the VC, because he's just a great guy. And for those of you who don't know him, you do have to check him out. A link to his channel is in the description. People who come here and like, you know, who like my channel, you're gonna like his, really, because he's got very similar taste to me. He's the same age, his videos are kind of similar, so you know, I'm sure whoever comes here to this channel is going to love Ross's videos as well. So honestly, I highly recommend you go check him out. Great channel, great guy, just everything about him, great, you know, fantastic. So there's a link in the description to his channel. But Ross, congratulations, mate. Honestly, 500 subscribers. It is a big number. It is a big deal. It's awesome that you're finally there. And before we know it, we will be celebrating 1,000 subscribers for you. And eventually you'll be surpassing me, I'm sure. And hey, that'll be great. There'll be many more milestones to come for you, I'm sure, buddy. But this is the first big one, 500. Congratulations, it's fantastic. But anyway, let's get down to your contest. Great idea, I absolutely loved it. Talk about either albums or artists. Pick one for each letter of the alphabet, A to Z, you know. And I decided to go with artists. I could have done albums, because I would have been able to fill every slot up if I'd done albums, but I've gone with artists. And I couldn't think of anything for X or Z. I haven't got any artists when their names begin with X or Z. And what I've done is, you know, I've got bands here, obviously, I've got some bands, but for actual artists, I've done their surname. So, like, M. I'm not using Paul McCartney, but let's say I was to include Paul McCartney for M, he would come under M for McCartney. I'm not going P for Paul, I'm going M for McCartney. Just so you guys know. But anyway, well, let's get started. So then, first one up. I had a few artists I could pick from for A, but I got with this one because it's a band which gets a lot of attention, really, but here in the VC, not so much. And that is the Arctic Monkeys. You know, fantastic band. Honestly, I love them a lot. I really need to finish off and get complete on them. This is my favourite album of theirs, their last one, from 2013, and this is just called AM. So, very cool album. I'd highly recommend it if you haven't picked it up. It's a very, very cool rock album. B, there's loads of artists I could have picked for B. I got so many of my favourites under the B section. Obviously the Beatles and Joe Bonamassa. But I've gone with this one because I know Ross is a big fan, or just getting into him and becoming a big fan. He's always been one of my personal favourites, and Ross has actually requested a video on this guy, which I'll be doing soon, and that is B for Bowie, David Bowie. Honestly, David Bowie really has become my favourite musician. For me, Bowie and the next artist I'm going to talk about are like my top two. I love these guys. David Bowie is fantastic. His whole catalogue of albums are incredible, and that's why the video that Ross has requested is going to be very challenging, because he's requested that I rank them from least to best. So I'm a little bit nervous about doing this, Ross, I can't lie, but I look forward to doing it eventually. But yeah, he's got some great albums, David Bowie. This is one of his best. I'm not sure I'd say this is my personal favourite Bowie album. Definitely top 3, though. I mean, fantastic. Honestly, if you don't have any Bowie in your collection, which I highly doubt, but if you don't have any Bowie in your collection, change that now. That needs to be the first thing you take away from this video. Anyway, next one up, C. I'm going for my sweet spot here, and that is C for Clapton. Clapton for me just hits all the right notes. He's just a perfect musician, really, because I love his style, I love his vocals. I know some people like to put his guitar playing down because he doesn't move up and down the guitar like a maniac, but he makes the best sound on the guitar, in my opinion. He's a fantastic guy, and I absolutely love him, honestly. Getting his albums. I want to say he doesn't have any bad ones, but there is that One in Every Crowd album, which is a little bit... But I really do enjoy all of his records, honestly. He's a fantastic guy, fantastic musician. I look forward to seeing him next month, hopefully. I know he hasn't been too well lately, so... But anyway, hopefully I'll be able to see him next month. I'm very much looking forward to it. Next one up is D, and for D, I've gone with Dylan, Bob Dylan. This was pretty easy, you know, in D, you just instantly think Dylan. Dylan. So, and I've just got complete on Dylan, and really been digging his stuff lately. Dylan is a very love-hate thing. Some people really love him because of his creativity, his lyrics. Some people really don't like him because of his vocals. I think if you can get past the vocals, because sometimes they are good, but I'll admit sometimes they're bad, you can really, really dig his music, and it's great. So yeah, Dylan, fantastic artist. E, again, I was going to show the Eagles, but I don't know loads about the Eagles, so I thought, let's do this. This is the Electric Light Orchestra, you know, one of my favourite bands again. Lucky, I got to see them in 2015. What was it, 2016? Oh, I think it might have been 2016. I got to see them about a year ago, I know that anyway. And yeah, fantastic band, honestly. Again, if you haven't got any ELO in your collection, I wouldn't say every ELO album is essential to a collection, but I'd say this one, A New World Record, is a classic rock album, and a bit proggy as well at times. So I highly recommend this one. Out the Blue is just fantastic, fun album, and check out Face the Music as well. Really cool album from them. At F, I've gone for Fleetwood Mac, of course. Fleetwood Mac. So excited about Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie's new album. I honestly was so pumped when I heard the announcement for that. But yeah, Fleetwood Mac, what can I say? They've got a fantastic career. Started from the very start with Peter Green, going all the way through to when Lindsey and Stevie Nicks joined, of course. And, you know, ever since, really. I mean, I don't think Fleetwood Mac are the perfect band. I've got a couple duddish albums. But they are, honestly, still one of the best bands. I absolutely adore Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. Into their solo careers. I love their solo careers as well. Stevie Nicks has just got fun songs. You always seem to have your foot tapping with hers. And Lindsey Buckingham, I kind of feel sorry for the guy. I mean, check out the album Seeds We Sow. I keep telling people to check this album out. It is honestly one of the best records I've ever heard. And it is Lindsey Buckingham's best album. Not saying it's better than this, but it's a better album for Lindsey. If you're a Lindsey fan and you want to discover more Lindsey, go to Seeds We Sow. It is an incredible record. G, again, quite a few artists I could have gone for G. You know, Genesis. But I guess Genesis related here. I've gone for Gabriel. Peter Gabriel. This is my favourite album from him, Us. And it is, honestly, a beast of an album, this one. An absolute beast. You know, if you haven't heard this album, again, I've got to say, check it out. You can pick the CD up super cheap. Vinyl is quite rare, but they've just reissued it, and you can get a nice triple set vinyl that's numbered with an etching on the last side. I'd highly recommend this album. It is fantastic. I've talked about it a few times on my channel now. But go check out the songs Steam, Blood of Eden. They're my two favourite tracks on here. Great, great album. H, my only Beatle mention in this video. And that's H for Harrison, George Harrison. I was so excited. They announced the track listing for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 soundtrack. I'm a big Marvel fan. I love these Marvel Cinematic Universe films that are coming out. And I love the first Guardians film. But one of the best things about the first Guardians film was the soundtrack. You know, we had David Bowie, Moon Age Daydream on there. Blue Swede with Hooked on a Feeling. You know, so many great songs on that first soundtrack. And everyone was really anticipating the second one. We've got the Electric Light Orchestra, Mr. Blue Sky. We got Fleetwood Mac The Chain on there. And we've got now George Harrison, My Sweet Lord. So I was so happy to see a George Harrison song on there. Not the song I would have picked for George though, because I'm not sure how My Sweet Lord is going to fit into a sci-fi film. But anyway, you know, these songs aren't just picked for the hell of it. They're picked to match certain scenes. So I'm sure it's going to work. But I'm sure George Harrison is really going to come to light again in the next month or two because of this film. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be picking up his greatest hits who don't really know him too well. So it's a good time to be a George Harrison fan. Also with that box set that just came out, which was a lot of fun. George Harrison really is my favourite Beatle. He's got the most consistent career. And what I mean by consistent is John, Paul and Ringo have all had solo albums I don't like. Whereas George, I actually like them all. They're all really good, really consistent. And he's got such a unique voice. And poor George, taken from us too soon again, but fantastic man. So I don't own anything beginning with I on vinyl, but I have this CD and I absolutely love this CD. So I'm going to talk about Imagine Dragons. So yeah, this is Night Visions, their debut album, and it is a lot of fun. It's got a lot of cool stuff on here. My favourite track on here is probably Demons. Yeah, some pretty cool stuff on here. So, Imagine Dragons. Now going with J, of course. That is the next letter up, so I had to go with J. Pick this one for you, Ross, because I know you're a big fan, and I'm becoming a very big fan of, well, the main member of this group, Mr. Paul Weller. And that's the Jam. You know, grew up listening to the Jam. My dad's a big Jam fan. I didn't have much choice with the Jam. It's like I had to like them in this house. But Paul Weller's solo career was never really mentioned, and Ross has really introduced me to Paul Weller. I love Paul Weller, honestly. I really want to, you know, if I'm lucky enough to win this contest, Ross, I probably will pick one of those reissued Paul Weller albums, actually. Because I've only got, at the minute, I bought the soundtrack that he just released. You sent me the greatest hits for Christmas, which was very nice. And I've got Saturn's Patterns, the last album. I do have the new one on pre-order, a kind revolution. So I'm really looking forward to getting it. But anyway, Jam. You can't go wrong with the Jam. They're one of those classic British bands. Fantastic. So K, I've gone with Krall for Diana Krall. I'm really looking forward to her new album as well, but the vinyl is still not up for pre-order here in the UK yet, so we'll see. I loved her last two albums. Drag Rag Doll, I think was the one before this. That was a lot of fun. I love the feel to it and the look to it. This one here, Wallflower. Yep, I got that right. This one's really cool because there's a lot of interesting covers on here. You know, I'm Not in Love by 10cc. Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word by Elton John. There's also a song on here written by Paul McCartney. There's also a duet with Bryan Adams and Michael Bublé. So, it was a very good album, this one. It's going to be hard to top that one, so we'll see what a new one's like. L, easy. Who are you going to go for L? You got to go for Led Zeppelin, ain't you? I mean, Led Zeppelin are maybe my, you know, obviously when I talk about my favourite bands, the Beatles just, you know, they're on their own level, so we'll forget about them. But Led Zeppelin probably are my favourite band after that. They're just, every time I put a Zeppelin song on, you're just hooked, you're just into it. All their albums are fantastic. For me, Led Zeppelin are, again, one of those perfect bands. They're like the Beatles, just, there's nothing to dislike, so. And the same goes for this next band. Again, nothing to dislike on this band. M, I've gone for Madness. You know, this was the first band I ever got into. And I've recently, I was driving home from work the other day and I thought, well, I'm going to put a CD on for a change instead of listening to the radio. I went through my CD case, you know, I got everything in my CD case. I've got like 30 CDs and I put Madness on. I thought, I'm going to have Madness. Why not? They're fun. I've just been so into them. I ordered their latest album yesterday. In fact, it comes today. Can't Touch Us Now. Go watch the music video to that. Honestly, fantastic. If I bought Madness's new album last year, very easily could have got the #1 spot, I'm thinking, because it sounds amazing. I've ordered a couple Madness albums, actually, and I just adore Madness. They're one of my very favourite bands. Honestly, they would be in my top 5, because there's nothing to dislike. And I know some people look at them as a silly punkish group, but the 7 musicians in this band flow off each other so well. They really are a lot more talented than what people give them credit for. This is their second album, of course, Absolute. It has Baggy Trousers, Embarrassment, Take It or Leave It, and Return to Lost Palmer 7 on here. Got 4 really big songs on, but honestly, fantastic record. Madness. Oh, I can't speak enough about Madness, honestly. They're one of my favourites. If you haven't checked them out, you've got to go check them out. Just buy... There's a compilation called Total Madness. Buy that, because it's got a couple of their new songs on. Love Struck and NW5. They're incredible songs, honestly. So yeah, it's super cheap on CD, and the vinyl's only about 20 quid. So pick up Total Madness. It's a fantastic compilation. And I'm going back to Fleetwood Mac. I'm going to talk about Nicks, Stevie Nicks. You know, as I say, big Stevie Nicks fan, honestly. I really like her. For a while, I kind of strayed off of Stevie Nicks and went just Lindsay. I'm like, I'm just going to stick up for Lindsay. Stevie gets too much attention. But I do take that back. I think Stevie Nicks is fantastic. She really is great. I'm a little bit mad at her for what she done with Fleetwood Mac recently. But anyway, you know, whatever. She's a rock star. She can do what she likes. So... Can't be too mad at her, but yeah, she's a great catalogue of music. Great musician. Fantastic. Oh, Oasis. Here it is. What's the story? Records are going to fall over on the floor now. What's the story? Morning Glory by Oasis. But yeah, great record. Don't need to say anything about that. And Oasis themselves, of course, you know, very interesting band. I don't really know them too well. I don't really like them. Their music's pretty good. P. I've gone for P for Petty, Tom Petty. You know, big Tom Petty fan, honestly. Great musician. He's got a lot of great stuff going on here. This is, of course, probably his most well-known album. But yeah, his stuff, of course, going on into the Heartbreakers is pretty magical. Q for Queen. You know, who else are you going to pick for Q? I mean, come on. Gotta be Queen, isn't it? So yeah, Queen. You know, voices going there. I'm not the biggest Queen fan, as people will be able to tell you who visited my channel. But they do have some great stuff amongst it all, though, that's for sure. And this is probably their best album, so had to hold that one up. Why not? R.E.M. You know, again, one of my favourite bands. This is one of my favourite albums of theirs. I know some people like to say this is where they started to decline. I disagree. I really like this album. It's got a lot of cool stuff on. Losing My Religion, still probably their most popular song ever. I'm a sucker for Shiny Happy People. And the track Low is also a great one. I like Radio Song as well. The opening track, that's good. So, yeah, R.E.M. S, I'm not a big fan of this guy. But I'm showing it for you, Ross. This is S for Simon, Paul Simon. This was his last studio album. Stranger. I didn't actually like this album, but I thought it'd be cool to show his last one. Yeah, so when it comes to Paul Simon, I like the hits. Hits are good. Everything else for me, though, I'll take it and leave it. But anyway, I don't know why I picked that one up, actually, because it's one of his weakest albums, in my opinion. I like the one before, So Beautiful, So What. That weren't bad. T, Tears for Fears. Love me some Tears for Fears. Just whack my lamp. The Hurting, great record, honestly, love it. Songs from the Big Chair, also great. And of course the last one, name's escaping me right now, but I do have it here somewhere. Anyway, you know, Tears for Fears, great. Apparently they have a new album in the works as well. Very interesting. You, again, who do you think of when you talk about you? U2. And this is one of my favourite albums of theirs. All That You Can't Leave Behind. You know, the opening track on this one, Beautiful Day, is great. U2, I'm still getting to know them, really, but I love their early stuff. This is their middle period, which I love, and I love their last album, Songs of Innocence. So I guess that shows that I'm meant to be a U2 fan. So I like some from the beginning, and I like some from the middle, and I like some from current. I'm not going to say the end because it's not the end yet. So yeah, U2, very cool. V, I only have one artist on V, and I'm not the biggest fan of this. I know some people absolutely adore it, so I'm sorry. But anyway, this is Velvet Underground. Yeah. Here it is. Yeah. It's very, very proggy, very experimental, very druggy, very out there. And it's a bit too much of all that for me. I can take all of that stuff. I can take druggy music. I can take experimental music and proggy music. I like all of that. But this one really pushes it. This is as far proggy and as far druggy as it gets. You know, you read the track listing. There's a track on here just called Heroin. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not really for me. Okay, W, I'm going to talk about who I think is the most talented musician on the planet. You know, this guy's a composer. I'll say that, it's a composer. So, you know, he's in a different league, really. Because when you talk about rock musicians and all these, you know, artists that we've been talking about, pop, rock, blues, for me, it's like Bowie and Clapton. But really, this guy, as a composer, really is just the top dog. And that is W for Williams. And that is John Williams. So I'm going to hold up one of his soundtracks here. Of course, Empire Strikes Back. You know, when you talk about John Williams, he's done so many film soundtracks now. You know, Jaws, all of the Star Wars films, Indiana Jones, E.T. It just seems like everything he touches is goldmine. I mean, you not only remember the theme. It's like you hear the Indiana Jones music, you go, Indiana Jones. You hear the Jaws theme, you go, Jaws, Star Wars, Star Wars. You know where all these themes fit in. If you can actually put a name, you can actually remember each little tune though. It's like, you know, if I just look at this one, The Duel, you know, you remember that from Empire when Vader and Luke just standing opposite each other and you think, oh, shit's gonna go down. You know, Lando's Palace, you remember that? I mean, Vader's theme, who doesn't remember Vader's theme? Every song on a John Williams film you can remember. He is a mastermind, he is a god at film soundtracks, and he really is, in my opinion, the most talented man in the music world, because he understands music better than anyone else, I think. Okay, so then last one up, of course, the last letter up I could manage, which is Y. Pretty predictable again. Yes. I like Yes. Good band. Well, good albums. So, don't really know what to say on them, to be honest. Just check them out, because you got to check them out. But anyway, that is my entry for your contest, Ross. Once again, congratulations, buddy. 500 subscribers. Well deserved. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and I'll see you guys next time for another video.